Calm your mind in 5 minutes. Your mind isn't broken. It's just been running without rest. This audiobook won't ask you to fix your thoughts. It will show you how to quiet them gently. You don't need an hour. You don't need silence. You need 5 minutes and permission to stop pushing. Introduction. You know what it feels like. The mind that won't stop. The thoughts that loop. The worries that spiral. The constant mental noise that makes it impossible to rest. Even when your body is exhausted, you've tried to calm it. You've told yourself to relax, to stop overthinking, to just let it go. But it doesn't work. The thoughts keep coming. The noise keeps building. And the harder you try to quiet your mind, the louder it seems to get. This is not your fault. Your mind is not broken. It's not failing you. It's just been running without rest. And it doesn't know how to stop on its own. Most people think a calm mind means no thoughts, a blank slate, perfect mental silence. But that's not what calm is. Calm is not the absence of thoughts. It's the absence of the struggle with thoughts. It's the ability to have thoughts without being consumed by them, to notice them without following them, to let them pass without holding on to them. This book is not about controlling your thoughts. It's not about positive thinking or mindfulness in the traditional sense. It's about something simpler and deeper. It's about teaching your mind how to rest, how to release the grip, how to stop spinning and start settling. The first part of this book explains why your mind won't slow down, why telling yourself to relax doesn't work, why the harder you try to control your thoughts, the more chaotic they become. The second part is the practice. 5 minutes. 5 specific steps that take your mind from noise to quiet, from spinning to still, from exhausted to rested. The third part is about sustaining the calm, about what to do when the quiet fades, about how to return without starting over. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to be good at meditation. You don't need to empty your mind. You just need 5 minutes. And the willingness to stop trying so hard. Because calm doesn't come from effort. It comes from release. Let's begin. Part I: Why your mind won't slow down. Chapter 1. A loud mind is a tired mind. Overthinking is exhaustion trying to speak. When your mind is loud, when thoughts won't stop, when you're stuck in a loop of worrying and analyzing and replaying, it's not because you're anxious. It's because you're tired, mentally tired, emotionally tired, tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. A rested mind is naturally calm. It can think clearly. It can focus when it needs to and release when it doesn't. It has space, flexibility, ease, but a tired mind can't do that. A tired mind grips, it loops, it holds on to thoughts because it doesn't have the energy to let them go. Think about your body when it's exhausted. Your muscles tense. Your movements become stiff. Everything takes more effort. Your mind is the same. When it's tired, it loses its ability to relax. It can't soften, it can't release, so it just keeps running, churning, spinning in place. And the more it runs, the more tired it gets. And the more tired it gets, the louder it becomes. It's not a thinking problem. It's an exhaustion problem. Most people try to manage a loud mind by thinking more, by analyzing why they're overthinking, by trying to solve the thoughts, by searching for clarity. But that's like trying to rest your body by running faster. It doesn't work. It just adds more fatigue. A loud mind doesn't need more input. It needs less. It doesn't need answers. It needs rest. And rest doesn't come from thinking your way to calm. It comes from releasing the need to think. When you're mentally exhausted, your mind loses its ability to filter. Everything feels important. Everything demands attention. Every thought feels urgent, so you try to address them all. You try to process them, to figure them out, to make sense of the noise. But the noise isn't information. It's just fatigue. It's your mind saying, I'm too tired to function properly. I need to stop. And until you give it that rest, the noise will continue. Because exhaustion doesn't go away on its own. It accumulates, it compounds, it gets louder. The first step to a calm mind is recognizing that the noise is not a problem to solve. It's a signal that your mind is tired, that it's been running too long without rest. And the solution is not to think harder. It's to rest, to stop, to let the mind settle. You're not broken. You're not overthinking because there's something wrong with you. You're overthinking because your mind is exhausted. And exhausted minds are loud. The quiet is still there, underneath the noise, waiting for you to stop long enough to find it. Chapter 2. Why telling yourself to relax never works. The mind doesn't calm down on command. You've probably tried it. You're lying in bed, mind racing, and you tell yourself, just relax. Just stop thinking. Just calm down. And it doesn't work. If anything, it makes it worse. Because the mind doesn't respond to commands. It responds to conditions. When you tell yourself to relax, you're using the same thinking mind that's already overactive. You're asking the problem to solve itself. And the mind hears that as another task, another thing to do. Okay, now I need to relax. How do I relax? Am I relaxed yet? Why isn't this working? And now you're not just dealing with the original noise. You're also dealing with the frustration of not being able to calm down. This is why willpower doesn't work with mental calm. You can't force your mind to be quiet. You can't demand it. You can't talk it into submission. Because the act of trying to control your mind keeps it activated. It keeps it engaged. It keeps it running. Calm doesn't come from effort. It comes from release. From letting go of the need to control. From creating the conditions where the mind can settle on its own. Think of it like trying to fall asleep. The harder you try, the more awake you become. Because trying is activating, it's effort. And effort is the opposite of rest. But when you stop trying, when you just lie there and let yourself be, sleep comes, not because you did something, but because you stopped doing. The mind is the same. It calms when you stop trying to calm it. When you stop commanding it. When you stop treating it like something you need to control. This doesn't mean you do nothing. It means you work with the mind instead of against it. You create the conditions for calm instead of demanding it. And those conditions are not about thinking differently. They're about shifting your attention, about grounding your awareness, about releasing the mental grip. When you tell yourself to relax, you're staying in your head. You're still thinking, still trying to solve the problem with thought. But calm begins in the body, in sensation, in the present moment, in the things your thinking mind can't control. This is why the 5-minute practice in this book doesn't ask you to think your way to calm. It asks you to shift your attention, to notice, to feel, to let go, not through effort, through release. You can't command your mind to be quiet, but you can create the space where quiet naturally appears. And that's what the next chapters will show you how to do. Chapter 3. The illusion of mental control. The harder you grip your thoughts, the louder they get. There's a belief that if you just think hard enough, you can control your mind. That if you analyze your thoughts, understand them, manage them properly, you can make them behave. But that's not how it works, because the act of trying to control your thoughts is itself a form of mental activity. And mental activity is what keeps the noise going. When you try to control a thought, you engage with it. You give it attention, you make it important. And the more attention you give it, the stronger it becomes. The more you try to push it away, the more it pushes back. This is the paradox of mental control. The more you try to manage your thoughts, the less control you actually have. Think about trying to not think about something. The classic example is don't think about a pink elephant. And what happens? You immediately think about a pink elephant, because the instruction not to think about it requires you to think about it. This is what happens when you try to control your mind. You tell yourself not to worry, and in order to follow that instruction, you have to engage with the worry. You have to monitor whether you're worrying, which means you're still thinking about the thing you're trying not to think about, and the cycle continues. The illusion of control is that you can choose which thoughts appear, that you can decide what to think and what not to think. But that's not how the mind works. Thoughts arise on their own. They come and go. You don't choose them. You just notice them. What you can control is your relationship to the thoughts. Whether you follow them or let them pass. Whether you grip them or release them. Whether you believe them or observe them. But you can't control whether they show up in the first place. When you understand this, the pressure lifts, because you're no longer responsible for managing every thought. You're no longer trying to curate your mental experience. You're just noticing, allowing, letting thoughts be thoughts. The grip you have on your thoughts is what makes them loud. The constant monitoring, the constant evaluating, the constant trying to steer your mind in the right direction. That grip is exhausting, and it doesn't work, because the mind doesn't respond to force. It responds to space. So the path to a calm mind is not through tighter control. It's through releasing control, through letting the thoughts come and go without needing to manage them. This might sound scary, like if you stop controlling your thoughts, they'll run wild, they'll take over. But the opposite is true. When you stop gripping, the thoughts lose their intensity, they soften. They pass more easily, because they're no longer being fueled by your attention, by your resistance, by your effort to make them different. You don't need to control your mind, you need to let it be. And in that allowing, calm appears, not because you created it, but because you stopped preventing it. Part 2, the 5-minute reset. Chapter 4. The first minute interrupting the spiral. Thoughts lose power when you stop following them. The first minute is about interruption, about breaking the mental loop, about stopping the spiral before it takes you all the way down. When your mind is loud, thoughts don't just appear. They link. One thought triggers another, and before you know it, you're 5 thoughts deep into a spiral that started with something small. This minute stops that chain. Find a place where you can pause for a moment. You don't need to lie down. You don't need quiet. You just need a moment where you're not actively doing something else. Close your eyes, or soften your gaze. and notice the thoughts. Don't try to stop them. Don't try to change them. Just notice, what is your mind saying right now? You might notice worries, plans, replays of conversations, judgments, predictions, all the noise that's been running in the background. Just see it, like you're watching a screen. You're not in the movie. You're watching it. Now, here's the interruption. Instead of following the next thought, instead of engaging with it, just say one word to yourself. Thought, that's it. Just the word, not a judgment, not an analysis, just a label. Thought. And when the next thought comes, do it again. Thought. You're not trying to stop the thoughts. You're just naming them. And in the naming, you create space. You separate yourself from the content. The thought says you forgot to respond to that email. You're going to mess this up. What if they're upset, and instead of following that chain, you just say thought? This breaks the spiral, because you're no longer feeding the thought with your attention. You're acknowledging it, and then letting it go. Do this for 1 minute. Every time a thought arises, name it. Thought. You'll probably forget. You'll get pulled into a thought, and that's okay. When you notice you've been pulled in, just come back, name the thought, and continue. This simple practice interrupts the automaticity of thinking. It reminds your mind that thoughts are just mental events, not commands, not truths, just thoughts. And when you stop treating them as urgent, they lose their grip. By the end of this minute, you might still have thoughts, but they'll feel different, less sticky, less consuming, because you stopped following them. And that's the first step to calm. Chapter 5. The second minute, grounding attention. Calm begins in the body, not the brain. The second minute is about shifting your attention from your head to your body. Because as long as your attention is in your thoughts, you're still in the noise. But when you bring your attention to your body, to sensation, to the physical present moment, the noise starts to quiet. You're still sitting or standing, eyes closed or softened. Now bring your attention to your feet. Just your feet. Notice them. Feel them. Are they warm or cool? Are they touching the ground? Are they inside shoes or bare? You don't have to feel anything specific. You're just noticing, anchoring your attention in sensation. If thoughts come, and they will, just notice them, and then bring your attention back to your feet. You're not fighting the thoughts. You're just choosing where to place your attention, and you're choosing the body. Now expand to your legs. Feel them. The weight, the contact with the chair or the ground, the muscles, the bones. Then your hands. Notice them. Are they resting on something? Are they warm or cool? Can you feel the texture of what they're touching? You're grounding. You're bringing your awareness into the physical, into the here and now, into the things that exist outside your thinking mind. And as you do this, the mental noise starts to fade, not because you're forcing it to, but because you're no longer feeding it with your attention. Thoughts might still arise, but they're quieter now, in the background, because your attention is here, in your body, in sensation. Spend the rest of this minute just feeling your feet, your hands, your body in space. You're not trying to calm your mind. You're just grounding your attention, and in that grounding, calm begins to appear. Chapter 6. The third minute, releasing mental pressure. You don't need clarity, you need space. The third minute is about releasing the pressure, the mental tightness, the sense that you need to figure everything out right now. When your mind is loud, it's because you're holding, gripping, trying to keep track of too much, trying to solve too much, trying to manage too much, and that grip creates pressure, mental pressure, like a tension you can almost feel in your head. This minute releases it. Bring your attention to your head, your skull, your brain, and notice if there's tightness, pressure, a sense of holding. You might feel it as tension in your forehead, or around your eyes, or at the base of your skull. Just notice it. Don't try to fix it. Just acknowledge it's there. Now imagine that pressure has a color, any color. It doesn't matter which. And with your next exhale, imagine that color releasing, flowing out, dissolving. You're not forcing it. You're just allowing it, giving it permission to go. Breathe in slowly, and as you exhale, imagine more of the pressure releasing, more of the tightness dissolving. You don't have to clear your mind. You're just creating space, letting some of the mental grip soften. Do this for a few breaths, each exhale releasing a little more, each exhale creating a little more space. You might notice your thoughts slowing, or you might not. Either way, you're releasing. You're teaching your mind that it doesn't have to hold so tight. By the end of this minute, you don't need clarity. You don't need answers. You just need space. Space for your mind to breathe, to rest, to stop working so hard. And in that space, calm becomes possible. Chapter 7. The fourth minute, letting stillness appear. Silence doesn't come, it reveals itself. The fourth minute is about stillness, but not the kind you create, the kind that's already there. Underneath the noise, waiting. You can't make stillness happen. You can't force silence, but you can stop covering it up. You can let it reveal itself. By now your mind is quieter, not silent, but quieter. The spiral has been interrupted. Your attention is grounded. The pressure has released. Now you just wait and listen. Bring your attention to the space between your thoughts, not the thoughts themselves, the space. At first, it might seem like there is no space, like thoughts are constant, overlapping. But if you pay attention, you'll notice there are gaps, brief moments where there's no thought, just quiet. You're not trying to create those gaps. You're just noticing them, acknowledging them. And as you do, they become more obvious, more present. This is stillness. It's not something you achieve. It's something you uncover. It's been there all along, underneath the noise, but you couldn't see it because you were too focused on the thoughts. Now you're seeing it, the quiet that exists between the mental activity, the silence that's always been there. Don't try to hold on to it. Don't try to make it last. Just notice it when it appears. And when a thought comes, that's okay. Let it pass and return to the space. Spend this minute just resting in the stillness. However brief, however fleeting, you're not meditating. You're not achieving anything. You're just noticing what's already here. And as you notice, the stillness grows, not because you're doing something, but because you're allowing it. This is the quiet you've been looking for. It's not somewhere else, it's here. It's always been here. You just needed to stop long enough to see it. Chapter 8. The fifth minute, teaching your mind safety. A calm mind is a trained mind. The fifth minute is about teaching, about showing your mind that it's safe to be quiet, that calm is not dangerous, that stillness is okay, because often the reason your mind won't slow down is because it thinks slowing down is unsafe, that if it stops, something bad will happen, that it needs to stay vigilant, alert, ready. This minute teaches it otherwise. You're still here in this moment. Quieter now, more still. And you're okay. Nothing bad has happened. You didn't lose control. You didn't miss anything important. You just stopped, and you're fine. Say this to yourself, silently or out loud. I'm okay. Right now, I'm okay. Not as a mantra, as a truth. As reassurance, you're safe. Your mind can rest. It doesn't have to keep running. It doesn't have to keep protecting you from imaginary threats. With each breath, let that message sink in. Let your mind hear it. Let it start to believe it. I'm okay, I can be still. I'm safe. This is training. You're teaching your nervous system that calm is not a threat. That quiet doesn't mean danger. That it's okay to let go. And the more you do this, the easier it becomes. The more your mind learns that it can stop without consequence. Take a few more slow breaths, and with each exhale, let the calm deepen. Let the quiet settle. You're not trying to hold on to this forever. You're just teaching your mind what it feels like, so it remembers, so it knows it can return. Before you finish this fifth minute, take one final slow breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And as you exhale, acknowledge what you just did. You calmed your mind in 5 minutes, not by forcing it, but by creating the conditions, by interrupting, grounding, releasing, noticing, teaching. And now your mind knows. It knows this is possible. It knows it can be quiet. And next time it will be easier, because you've shown it the way. Part 10: Staying calm after the 5 minutes. Chapter 9. Why calm fades and why that's normal. After the 5 minutes, you might feel calm, quiet, centered, and then an hour later, the noise is back, the thoughts are loud again, and you might feel like you failed, like the practice didn't work, like the calm was temporary and meaningless. But that's not true. Calm is not a permanent state. It's not something you achieve once and keep forever. It's a state you return to, again and again, as many times as you need. Your mind is designed to think, to problem solve, to plan and analyze and worry. That's its job. And when you go back to your day, when you re-engage with tasks and responsibilities and challenges, your mind starts thinking again. That's normal. That's expected. The calm fading doesn't mean the practice failed. It means you're living, you're engaging with life, and life activates the mind. But here's what's changed. You now know how to return to calm. You have a path, a process, a way back. Before, when your mind got loud, you didn't know what to do. You just stayed in the noise. You pushed through. You exhausted yourself trying to think your way out. But now you know 5 minutes, and you can return. Calm is not about staying quiet all the time. It's about knowing how to quiet down when you need to. It's about having a reset, a way to release the buildup before it becomes overwhelming. And the more you practice, the longer the calm lasts. Not because you're getting better at holding on to it, but because your mind is learning. It's remembering what quiet feels like, and it's starting to default to it more naturally. So when the calm fades, don't see it as failure. See it as an invitation, an invitation to return, to reset, to practice again. Because each time you do, you're training your mind. You're building a skill, and that skill compounds over time. Calm is not permanent, but it's always accessible. And that's what matters. Chapter 10. Returning to quiet without starting over. When the noise comes back, when your mind gets loud again, you don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to do the whole 5-minute reset every time. You can return to quiet with just a breath, just a pause, just a moment of recognition. Because now your mind knows what calm feels like. It has a reference point, a memory, and you can remind it of that memory without needing to rebuild it from the beginning. When you notice your mind speeding up, when you feel the thoughts starting to spiral, just pause, take one slow breath, and as you exhale, remember what it felt like 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago, an hour ago, when your mind was quiet. You're not trying to recreate that feeling. You're just reminding your system that it exists, that it's possible, that it's here. And often that reminder is enough. Your nervous system recognizes it, and it starts to shift toward calm, toward quiet. You can also use one element from the 5-minute practice. Just one. Maybe you notice your thoughts and label them. Thought, just once, just as a reminder. Or maybe you ground your attention in your feet for 10 seconds. Or maybe you take 3 slow breaths, releasing mental pressure with each exhale. You don't need the full practice every time. You just need a touch point, a reminder, a gentle nudge back toward calm. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. The return gets faster, smoother, more automatic, because you're building a pathway, a neural pattern, a habit of returning to quiet instead of staying in noise. And eventually, you might find that you don't need to consciously return. Your mind just does it on its own. It recognizes when it's getting too loud, and it self-corrects, not perfectly, not every time, but more often, more naturally. This is what a calm mind looks like. Not a mind that never gets loud, but a mind that knows how to quiet itself. A mind that has practiced the return so many times that it becomes second nature. You're not starting over each time. You're continuing. You're building. You're strengthening the pathway back to quiet. And that pathway is always there, waiting for you, whenever you need it. Closing. You can come back to this calm anytime. It already knows you. You've just learned how to calm your mind in 5 minutes. Not by forcing it, not by controlling it, but by creating the conditions where quiet can appear. Your mind is not broken, it was just tired, running without rest, and now you've given it a way to stop. Interrupting the spiral, grounding attention, releasing pressure, noticing stillness, teaching safety. That's the path, that's the reset. And you can walk that path whenever you need to, in the middle of a workday, before bed, in a bathroom stall, in your car, whenever the noise gets too loud. 5 minutes, that's all it takes. The calm will fade, it always does. But that's not failure, that's just life. Your mind engaging with the world again. And when it gets loud, you can return. Not by starting over, but by remembering, by pausing, by taking one breath and finding the quiet underneath. This is not a one-time fix. It's a practice, a skill, a way of being with your mind that gets easier the more you do it. You're not trying to achieve perfect mental silence. You're not trying to never think again. You're just learning how to rest, how to release, how to let your mind be quiet when it needs to be. And that's enough. That's everything. Your mind already knows this calm. It's been there before, in moments you might not have noticed, in the space between thoughts, in the stillness that appears when you stop pushing. It's familiar, it's home, and you can return to it anytime. Because the quiet is not something you create, it's something you uncover. It's always been there, waiting. You just needed to stop long enough to find it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for stopping. Thank you for giving your mind this rest. You can come back to this anytime. The calm remembers you, and you remember the calm. End of audiobook.